Welcome to this episode of 1501. I have a very special guest that has four legs. In fact, I think it's the first time I've ever had a four-legged podcast guest. A couple years ago, if you had a social media account for your pet, you would have looked like a weirdo, but it's pretty commonplace now. And in fact, it can even be big business. That is the case with my guest on this episode, Max the French Bulldog. He is French, but he lives in Australia. And he has taken off online, millions and millions of views all over Instagram. And if you see him, you will know why he is famous. I think he's part of the reason that the French Bulldog has really taken off in popularity as well in recent years too. So I'm going to find out from the source, Max's mom, Louise. We're going to talk to her and find out what happens when you just have a collection of photos and videos you want to share with family and friends to it taking off and being seen all over the world. But before we do that, if you could do me a favor, please follow the show and help us grow. You can find us on every platform, and it's super easy to do. It's just at 1501 Show. That's 1501 SHOW. Without further ado, here are my guests, Louise, Max, and a special guest appearance from his brother, Taz.
They say everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame, but what happens when that time is up? Some burn out, some find ways to extend that fame, while others find success in completely different ventures. My name is Derek Spartz. Join me as I talk with actors, musicians, viral sensations, athletes, and more to find out what drove them to this crazy world of fame and fortune, along with some tales of misfortune along the way. This is 1501.
I got a little bit of a different episode this time. My guest isn't necessarily famous, but she has two dogs that are famous to me, at least, and they're starting to take off online. Her name is Louise. Most of you probably know her through Max and Taz, the two adorable French bulldogs that Louise has. Louise, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having us. It's great. Thank you.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Because a lot of times, there's been this, I don't know, I guess semi-new trend of making your dog famous. I don't know that was even your intent. I think we'll get into that. But you don't get to hear about the owners too often. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm in California and you're in Australia. I was actually just there. We had tried to make that work and the scheduling didn't quite work out. I would really love to meet Max and Taz in person, but this is just as good. So tell me about yourself.
Essentially just normal Aussie lady, lovely partner and with normal home. And we've just decided one day we needed a French Bulldog in our life.
I thought the timing was a little suspicious because I think Max was born in 2020, correct?
That's correct.
And I know Australia, I'm not sure about the part you were in, but they had some kind of pretty strict COVID lockdowns. And I know here in America, that was the time for everyone to run out and get a dog. Was that kind of the same case with you guys too?
We actually got him before the COVID came through.
Oh, it must have been just before then, yeah.
So we were lucky. We both actually worked through COVID. So we were the lucky ones that my partner's a painter. He's got his own business. And at that time, I used to work for a lighting company and we were still open. So we weren't one of those people that went and got a dog to keep us company while we're in lockdown.
Yeah.
It was just, he came up at the right time for us.
So I have to know, I've been wanting to get one for a long time and my life is just too crazy. I feel like it would be not fair to the dog to not give it enough time. And I live on my own. So French Bulldogs are very, I don't know, I guess you could term it better. They need attention. They need a lot of attention.
They do love a lot of attention. We are away from home 8 hours of the day, but I guess that's the way Max has been brought up and Taz as well. But when you're home, they do love your attention. They're a very loving dog. But at the same time, they're quite happy to be in their own space as long as you have things to keep them occupied.
I can hear him right now being occupied with things. Was Max your first French Bulldog? Have you ever had one before?
He was our first French Bulldog. I've always had Rottweilers.
Okay. That's quite a bit different.
Rotties are great dogs anyway, but I wanted to go for a smaller dog.
Sure.
And I liked the size of them and the look of them and, the stockiness of them as well. So,
well, obviously a lot of other people did too, because Max was the first one to take off. Taz is a little bit newer. I'm going to ask you about Taz in a little bit too, so he doesn't feel left out. But was this your goal to be like, you know what? I have an adorable dog. Everyone else is going to love this dog too. Did you initially, I think I caught on to Max maybe a year or two ago. So he was probably just out of being a puppy. Right away when you first got him, were you like, this dog's a star?
Not right away. I think I started our Instagram page for him really as a memory for us. Just, we don't take as many photos these days, I guess, because everything's instant. So I thought it was a nice way to share it with my friends and family. And I thought, well, maybe some people might like him as well. But it really wasn't until, I guess, one video took off that the whole world found out about him, I guess.
And you had actually sent me that first video that Max got famous for. Let's play it right now. So I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. I think it's in the millions of views. Let's play it really quick and we'll see how that goes. Okay. This is not knocking Max or anything. Maybe it's just a sign of how adorable he is. There wasn't much to that video. What do you think made it go crazy online?
I don't know. We were playing around. I was in our spare room and I was just playing games with him and I had the camera ready and it was really funny. I just saw that video and I thought, oh, this is good. I just had a little feeling, but I wasn't sure. And I just think it reminds me of Kramer from Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to picture Kramer every time I see Max.
Big Seinfeld fan. But I just had a little feeling. I posted it and then that was the one that just went off. And I think it just captures very quickly what a French Bulldog is like.
Yeah, I sent that video to someone else that I know follows Max. And he goes, that's how I found out about Max is because of that video. And I think I found out about Max from like, he doesn't necessarily do it so much anymore. Maybe because he's a little bit older, but he used to just jump like 5 feet in the air. Like you've never seen a dog jump like that. At least a Frenchie.
Yeah. No, you don't see Frenchies doing that very often. And to be honest, it's really not the best thing for them to do for their bats and that sort of thing. So I am aware of that. We do get a lot of comments and that as well about it. But it's just something you couldn't stop him from doing as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he did a couple of those Superman jumps and happened to catch them on camera. I don't know if you can hear them at the moment. Yeah. And I always had my phone in my hand just to capture any moment we sort of could. And then, of course, there was that other one where he jumps on the lounge with his crazy eyes and then his ears pop up at the back as well. So
yeah, you sent me that one too. I think we should play that one quick. It's really cute. Like it's like all of a sudden his ears just kind of pop up like a signal to show everybody. So actually, I'm glad you brought it up. Sometimes, online, I see it all the time and it really doesn't affect me anymore, but it used to, where people will leave like terrible comments. And there's no reason, especially a dog, like how awful of a person are you that you're going to leave terrible comments or maybe implying that you're a bad dog owner and things like that. I see it all the time. I'm not saying you are, and I definitely don't think you are. It's like, what do you think it is that people, is it just the fact that they're probably never going to meet you in their life? And it's something they would never say to your face either. Have you seen some of that on your comments? Because obviously you brought it up.
Yeah. We do get a lot of comments sometimes, and quite often what we find is when I look at that person to see their comment, and you just check and see if they're actually a follower of Max. 99% of the time they're not.
Right.
So we're really lucky that the 90,000 followers that Max does have, they know we look after him. They know we love him. They know that he's really well cared for as well. So a lot of the times I just ignore those comments, or depending on my mood, I might delete them.
Sure.
And sometimes you might get repeat offenders and I just block them. But yeah, I don't like doing that, but sometimes it's not
I always got a question, like, are they even a real person or is it just a bot? Like, I swear there's just things online that like just to instigate people to say nasty things. It's awful.
Yeah.
So you said Max is at 90,000 followers now. How long did it take to get there? He's about 3 years old now. When did he kind of first take off to now?
I think he took off probably about 9 months, of having Instagram.
Okay.
roughly from memory. And it sort of took off from having a couple of hundred followers through to we sort of hit the 5,000 mark. And I thought, wow, I never expected this.
Sure. Now
then
you're 20x that.
Yeah. And then you hit these massive, ridiculous numbers that you would never have expected.
Yeah, it's very cool to see. And I noticed we can talk strategy a little bit, I think, if you're okay with that. I follow Max on Instagram. Is that the only platform you're posting to?
We did have a TikTok for him as well. Started a YouTube, but I just find, one, I don't have the time to do all of them. And I find that Instagram's been the thing that's worked best for us.
And I want to ask you too, are you a full-time dog influencer now, or do you have a real job still too?
I actually still have a real job.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I do have to go to work 9 till 5. So I do that. And as you might know, we also have my own little business as well that we try and fit in. And then, of course, home life as well. So that's where the Instagram sort of fits in amongst that.
Yeah. So it is honestly, when you see these like influencers or people that have like millions and millions of followers, you think it's kind of a joke that, they just post and take pictures, but it's really time consuming. Like it can take a lot of time to do all these things.
It's fully time consuming, and really lucky with Instagram now that you can actually schedule posts.
Sure.
So I could sit there for an hour and schedule a week's worth if I wanted to. I don't tend to do that, but it is an option for me. Yeah.
But even just an hour out of your day when you got so many other things, just everyday life, a full-time job and everything, it really does add up. So I noticed that Max and Taz, they both do, you utilize the Reels function, which is like the short little mini videos. And I don't really see any photos. Is there a reason for that?
It used to work well, the photos, but because Instagram's changing so much, you sort of found that the Reels was the way it was working best. I'm actually finding now that even the Reels, something's changed with Instagram, and I'm not sure what it is. And not that it's a major deal, we're actually finding we're losing followers rather than gaining followers. There's something going on with the algorithm or whatever. So it's tricky.
I've actually noticed the same thing too. And I hate that it's such a mystery to figure it out, whether every platform is just a little bit different. And it's like, okay, this works now. And then a month later, this doesn't work. So that kind of brings me to a question that you said, maybe Max has lost a couple followers lately. Are you kind of concerned that his kind of viralness and hype and growth is done? Or do you ever kind of think about that?
To me, we love the Instagram and we love our followers. We love that we've reached 90,000 followers. To me, it was never what our goal was. The fact that we've reached that is amazing. If the way Instagram's working now, we start going so-called backwards, it's not a major thing for us. We've got his loving followers that jump on every day just to follow him for whatever reason. Just what will be, will be.
Yeah, the true fans will stick around. I'll still follow them. Yeah. So I noticed too, speaking of like the kind of code to break down Instagram is when you're going through your feed, mine is ridiculous. If you go to the suggested for me, it's like all dogs now.
Yeah.
But if you go down, sometimes I'll even see Max or another dog that I follow, and it's like sometimes I see accounts like grabbing your content or someone else's content and not even tagging you and who you are. Yeah. Is this kind of a constant problem that you're seeing?
It can be a problem. And again, we're really lucky because Max's followers are so loyal that they will, I got one yesterday actually, that they send that video through to me as a private message going, Max isn't tagged, you need to contact them, or they will contact them and say, this is Max's video, you need to tag him. So
I love that. You got fighters for you.
we do. And it's such a surprising world that people love him so much that they do that. We get messages from people that we never thought of. We sit down every morning and the kids want to know what Max is doing.
Yeah, that's wild, right?
Yeah, I've been in hospital for 2 weeks and Max has brightened my day every day that I've been in here. And you never expect a dog to do that worldwide. So to know that this little dog has made such a connection with people, it's just been really awesome.
Yeah, that is amazing. I've been around a lot of famous people, and I've seen, the great side of that and how, it can affect someone's life in a positive way. But I've also seen the opposite where it can be negative too. Have you ever seen anybody kind of maybe get too intrusive, or maybe they're like trying to find out where you live to like meet Max or something like crazy like that?
We have had messages where people go, look, we're coming to Australia. We'd really love to come and meet Max, which is really nice. But of course, we want to keep our private life private and not have people come and visit us, obviously. Not that we don't know we don't know who they are. But
yeah, especially to your private home. Although exactly. I messaged you and asked to meet you, so now I feel like I'm one of those guys. But no, it's got to be a concern, especially, I don't know, here in America, the French Bulldog has exploded. And I saw quite a few in Australia too. So, and they're very expensive now. And there's security concerns around having a dog, especially the big Lady Gaga thing that happened. This was a few miles away from where I am. Have you ever had anybody like kind of, even if they don't know who Max is, like just the fact that a French Bulldog is very valuable?
I guess the first question people ask, they see them and go, oh, they're so cute. Can we give them a pat? Yep, sure, no worries. And generally the first question out of their mouth is, oh, they're expensive dogs, aren't they? How much was he?
That's kind of like a red flag, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, they are expensive, and we just sort of leave it at that generally.
Do you mind disclosing on the podcast how much you paid for them?
That's fine. I mean, we were really lucky because when we saw Max was for sale and needed a good home, the lady that we got him from, it was her first Twitter. So she wasn't going crazy with prices or anything. Sure. And we checked to make sure that they were purebred and met her first and met the dogs. And so we were lucky he was $3,500.
Okay, yeah, and that's Aussie dollars, right, too? So that's actually a good deal because it's about $7 Aussie dollars to or 0.7 to $1 US. So yeah, about $2,000 to $3,000. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. So we were lucky, yeah.
So not to leave Taz out of things. Now, if you haven't seen Taz, I'm gonna put pictures up of him too. His ears were like the biggest ears you've ever seen on a French Bulldog, and they were so cute, but they wouldn't pop up for a long time. I think they just recently did now. And how old is Taz now?
So Taz has just turned 1.
Okay. But just recently, I think his ears just started popping up, right? It took probably close to a year, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. So his ears were both down. When we got Max, he had one floppy ear.
Okay.
And it eventually popped up. But it's taken a while for Taz's ears to pop up. But they still don't sit like a proper Frenchie's. He's got such tight muscles in between his ears that they tend to point in.
They're so cute. He's so cute. But I gotta ask though too, I was curious, Max and Taz look very similar. Are they like somehow related, or is it just a coincidence that they look very similar?
Yeah, they are related. So Taz is actually Max's nephew. So they had the same mum.
Oh, nice. That's very cool. Do you think they know it? Like, do they have some kind of connection where you think they can tell, like, hey,
maybe.
I think I know where you're from.
Yeah, I think I know you from somewhere.
Yeah. Do they ever get to keep in touch with the original mom or the other litter? Have they met them again, or?
When we went and got Taz, Max came with us.
Yep.
It was a long drive. We drove out to Bundaberg to get him, so it was actually a 3-hour drive to get there, and a 3-hour drive back. So he got to meet his original mum, I guess you could say, again. And yeah, it was good to see the breeder again. She's a really lovely lady. So hence why we were happy enough to get Taz.
Very cool. Let's talk money. Now, you don't have to tell me how much you're making, but Max has a merch line now, and there's some adorable stuff on there. We're going to post a link to how you can get to that. How did that come about? And then is there any other sources of revenue that you found? I don't know how it works. Like if something takes off on his account, is Instagram sharing a little bit of revenue with you? Or like I said, I don't need a specific number. I'm just curious if someone can make a few dollars off their dog.
Yeah, I mean, the possibilities there. To be honest, our little merch range in my little online shop really doesn't make anything. It's enough to keep it going itself. So I certainly can't quit my job any day.
Sure.
But we're working, it's a goal in progress. That actually came around as a bit of a joke, to be honest. So when we I think when we hit
I don't mind being interrupted by them.
When we hit the 20,000 mark, lovely lady called Maria, who actually runs an Australian company called Stinky Dog. They sell dog products for shampoos, conditioners, etc. We buy their products off of them and use them on the boys. She jokingly said, wow, 20,000, you're going to have to start getting Max merchandise.
And you're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, whatever. So I just picked the number and went, well, when he hits 50,000, I'll consider it.
Sure.
Soon enough, 50,000 come around. I thought, well, what do I do? Do I take a punt on this? And I looked at getting it made, can someone else make it, the merchandise? And I eventually just bought everything I needed to make the T-shirts and coffee mugs and whatever else we can sell. I make that up myself now. So that's our little sideline business.
Very cool. Is there any other sources of revenue that you found so far, or people that have reached out with maybe like guest appearances? I know sometimes people bring their dogs to like conventions and things like that. I'm thinking like, do you remember Grumpy Cat? Who, unfortunately, I don't think he's around anymore, but Grumpy Cat used to do the whole circuit and go to conventions and everything.
We haven't been lucky enough to do that sort of thing. We were invited to go onto our local radio station and be interviewed with them and have a little video there. That's fun. That was pure exposure though, I guess. We've managed to come up with a few deals with a few companies. So Stinky Dog is one of them. We were an ambassador with them, but we're happy enough to sell their product now. We're in a
I would assume people got to be asking for like at least get some free treats for the boys, right?
Yeah. So that's what's happened with a company called Wellness Foods or Winsies. They're a dog food company. They actually saw another one of Max's videos that went viral of him. His eyes were bulging out of his head to get one of their treats.
Oh, that's like pure gold for them. So
so they actually used it at their national conference. And then they got in contact with us and said, hey, guys, we used it at our conference. We'd really like to say thank you to you. And they sent us some treats.
You had posted this video before the company even reached out to you with their treats. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's perfect.
So, I mean, if we love a product and the boys are using it, we're happy to put that company's name to the video and let them know that we love it. But now we're in a good partnership with them where they send him some dog food and some treats, and we're
that's great that you actually, it was just kind of organically happen where, the company saw you weren't just getting product and then doing it for them. It was the other way around. So that's really cool.
And that's the way we work. Generally, we use their products and then they reach out to us.
That's good to know. So you can trust any product that Max endorses is fully used by Max and Taz.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, do you have any advice for someone that thinks, their dog has what it takes? I know there was a dog I think you actually saw it last night. He's a pug and he's super stubborn. I tried just for fun. I said, I'm going to make him an Instagram account. And then his owner wasn't so into it, but it was fun for a while. I was watching him for like a month and I was like, okay, we're going to make you famous. Do you have any advice for someone that does it? Because this dog in particular was very stubborn. He didn't like being on camera. I had to like force it into him. Are Max and Taz just kind of naturals, or what experience, or do they know when the camera's out now? Have they kind of figured it out?
Max actually knows when I pick up my phone now, that the light will reflect off of it and he'll look for a light on the floor to chase.
like the flashlight or like the actual screen? He just knows.
Like the reflection of the light off
the
camera.
Okay.
Crazy. I think they know. They used to see me with the camera in my hand all the time, essentially. And sometimes I think you almost see an eye roll from Max.
He's like, again, I just want to be lazy and take a nap.
Yeah. But I think for anyone who wants to try and get their dog viral, I don't think you can make it happen. Have your camera ready anytime, because it's the one that you don't expect.
Yeah, that's kind of the one lesson I think I've seen the videos that Max has done the best. It's nothing that was really forced onto it. It was just kind of a day in the life of a wild Frenchie.
Pretty much.
So yeah, maybe just yeah, don't force it, I guess. Just kind of, if you have a weird dog who does fun stuff and is cute, give it a shot.
Absolutely. If nothing else, you've got a great memory, content for yourself and your family, and the rest of the world can love it as well.
Yeah, I like that. So let's talk one more thing. We touched on it earlier, but I just want to know why do you think that Frenchies have gotten so popular recently? Now, I feel like I've wanted a Frenchie forever, but like I said, I'm just too busy and I would feel bad. But now I feel like if I get one, I just look like a follower because I don't know, in Los Angeles, everyone has a French Bulldog. Everyone, I could see like 20 a day.
We found here that everyone on the Sunshine Coast has got a French Bulldog as well. And there's a couple of other breeds which are really popular too. But I mean, I figure if you want a Frenchie and you're going to look after them, and go ahead, do it.
Yeah, and they're so cute. I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing. They've got this cute face. They're a stocky little body. They're a loving dog. I've never met an aggressive Frenchie.
Right.
I mean, apart from their craziness, they are lazy.
So that's maybe a couple of downsides. Is there anything that maybe Max does that we don't see on camera? Is he being a bad boy sometimes, or anything that you see out of the boys where you're like, this probably isn't the best look for them?
Yeah. Well, there is a look that isn't great, but I have posted that one as well. It's a little bit X-rated, I guess. A little bit R-rated. But the other thing is probably that we're lucky we don't get smell through Instagram.
Oh, I've heard that about Frenchies. Yes,
they're very gassy. That's probably the worst thing about them. They do snore a lot. I guess that comes down to obviously their face structure and that as well. So at night time, sometimes they're a little bit loud to sleep near. And I guess that they are known for health issues with their breathing and that sort of thing as well. But we're really lucky with the boys. We haven't really had any issues vet-wise with them. The major thing we had with Max is he accidentally ate a grape one day.
I didn't know that until like a year ago. I was like, what? Like grapes are toxic to like extremely toxic, I think. So yeah, that's actually a good PSA for people out there too. Don't give your dog any grapes at all.
Well, we always Google anything that we give them beforehand. I mean, they do get a lot of fruit, as people will see on his feed.
I think blueberries are a favorite. I see those a lot.
Yeah, and they're really good for them too. But I think it was like $2,000 later after his vet consultation. He came in as that really fine. So,
well, hopefully that good health continues. Anything we can expect from Max and Taz in the future? Any new adventures that are kind of lining up or new content?
Nothing planned. We do have a new partnership in the works at the moment as well with another company. But really just stay tuned. You never know what to expect from these boys, I guess.
Look at them being little brand moguls. I love it. Well, if you want to learn more about Max and Taz, they each have their own account. Max is a little bit more famous now, so let's make sure we get Taz some followers too. You can follow them at Max_Frenchie 2020, because that's the year he was born, and then Taz_Frenchie 2022. And if you want to check out their adorable merch line, it's Max Amore, MAXAMORE _ after that. I'll put all the links in the notes so everybody can check those out and make sure to give them a follow. And Louise, we haven't seen them yet on camera. Can we say hi to Max and Taz before we get out of here?
Absolutely.
All right, great. All right, if you're just listening to this, it's an adventure just to get Max. Oh, he is so much bigger than I thought. He's really big.
He is pretty big.
Oh, his head is huge. Okay. If you're just listening to this on the podcast, you have to go to the video version because Max is so cute, but you don't get the perspective of how big he is when he's just on his own. He's a very large Frenchie. Oh, and see, Taz. Oh my, his ears though. I can't with his ears. They're so cute. If you're just listening on the podcast, seriously, check out the last couple minutes of this video too. You have to meet the boys. They're so cute. All right, and we'll post all their videos as well too. Louise, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, thank you so much. It's been great. Oh, actually, just one thing before you go.
Yeah, sure.
We'd love to send you this.
Oh my God, a custom shirt. I have to have that.
We've even got your
Yes.
podcast
Oh
on
my
it.
God, I love it. It's got the 1501 logo and Max's Frenchie, Max's giant face that I know is huge now. It's probably to scale. Thank you so much. I would
Pretty
love
much.
that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Louise, Max, and Taz because I certainly did. I actually follow a few other Frenchies on Instagram, but Max is now officially my favorite. And once you see him, you will know why. So do yourself a favor, give him a follow and follow the show as well. It's at 1501 show. And if you have any suggestions on anybody else I should be talking to on the show, make sure to leave a comment and let me know. And definitely share this episode with your friends and any dog lovers you know out there. So until next time, I will see you on 1501.